experience a fun, interactive, and educational session with a certified nutritionist. In this session, you will discover ways to make healthier choices for you and your family. Be sure to share what you learned during this session with a friend or a family member. Welcome.
Good evening, everyone, and thank you for joining us for this evening's virtual nutrition workshop. My name is Yolanda Galloway, and I'm a Health and Wellness Coordinator with the Department of Parks and Recreation, Prince George's County. Before we begin tonight, I wanted to go over a few housekeeping items for you so that you'll be able to enjoy the program. You should see the microphone icon there on your screen, and this is the mute button. This allows you to mute yourself, and we ask that you remain muted to limit any distractions throughout the program. Next, I want to draw your attention to the camera icon. This allows you to turn your camera off and on, but please be mindful that if you have your camera turned on, that we can see everything on the screen, and we want to just make sure we minimize distractions throughout the program to be able to focus on the presentation that we're sharing with you on tonight. And the last icon is the chat icon. This will allow you to ask questions throughout the program. And what you'll do is click this icon here and type a question on the box that you see here. And this is where you'll be able to share comments, engage throughout the presentation, and ask your questions. So without further ado, I want to introduce you to our speaker for the evening, Ms. Leslie Jefferson. She is a certified nutrition specialist, the in-store nutritionist with Giant Food. And Leslie comes to us, she's a native of Washington metropolitan area, and she loves to dance. She loves to line dance rather, travel, cook, exercise, and participate in organized race activities. She can provide lectures, classes, and one-on-one consultations for you through her organization, Giant Food. So without further ado, Leslie, I'll turn it over to you.
Thank you so much. I'm so happy to be here. And today we're going to go through a store tour and do a little label reading. So let's see, this is always a fun part where you share the screen. And let me get my slides up and running. And we'll get started. So today is, all about what's in the aisles and shopping for health. So I really enjoy if you share with me, your comments, your question, utilizing the chat feature so that we can stay engaged. Sharing your tips is very important because we have others on the call, and I don't know everything about everything in the grocery store, and may be something that you've tried that has worked for you, and share that in the chat box so others can learn and maybe go out and utilize one of your great tips. So please use the chat box. I'll ask you some questions, throw some things in there so that we can make this more than just me just talking. So with that, I'm going to pull up the chat box so I can see it. All right. So first things first, we're going to go just like if we were in the store, and we just got cleared for in-store store tours. So little small groups, probably like 3 people, 4 max, but 3 people in the store for a actual in-store tour. So that makes it a lot more fun because we could put our hands on, the items that we are most interested in learning more about. But for right now, if we were in the store, we definitely would talk about food labels, and we're going to do that. Then we're going to walk through the sections of the store, and then we're going to go in the kitchen to see how we can put all of this together and have some success. So we're not going to spend a lot of time in the kitchen because it's more about what's going on in the aisles for the store tour, but we will have a little bit of inspiration for your time in the kitchen. All right. So at the grocery store, what do we think is more important, or what's more important to you? Nutrition is a personal thing. It's not one and done. Each one of us has different lifestyle, different hobbies, different family situations. So, nutrition it's very personal. The internet would like you to think that if you just did this one thing, it would solve it for everybody, but it's very personal. So throw it in the chat. What's more important to you when you go shopping? Are you looking for things that taste good? Are you looking, is nutrition your primary focus? Are you looking at the price of things, convenience foods? Or just, I just want to make sure everything I have is tasty and fun on my plate. So throw it in the chat what you would like to, what it works most, your main, what you look for most when you go grocery shopping. Nutrition and price. Very important. Yeah. Freshness, easy to prepare and taste. Yeah, there's an organization for everything, right? So there's an organization called the Marketing Institute for Food and something, something, something. They have done a survey for many, many, many years. And the first and always the number one thing people always look for is taste. So they shop first for taste, and then they shop for price. Convenience and nutrition kind of go hand in hand. And then there are some other things that they look at, like sustainability and all of that. But taste is always number one, and that's what's going to cause you to choose one thing or over another. And then next up, price. So keeping that in mind, we're going to go down the aisle and start looking at the labels. So how many people read the labels? Do you read labels? Are they confusing? I see a hand up, see some hands going up. And there's an icon, if you didn't know, in Teams, it's a little smiley face with a hand. You could raise your hand and say, and I can see that that's a yes for you, that you read food labels. Now, are they confusing? What do we think? Food labels, confusing? Are they fun to read? No, they're not fun to read. But sometimes, yeah. But our food labels are the key. One of the question I get asked most, I love the icon. Really confusing. Yeah, I mean, but the question I get asked most is this healthy? Is this healthy for me? Should I eat this? Is this good for you? But your nutrition facts are where you get that information. Now, because remember, nutrition's not one and done, because people can be looking for different things. So I see in the chat, always looking at added sugars on a nutrition label. So put in the chat what you like to look for first on a food label. And I bet we're going to get a bunch of different things. What's the first thing you look for on a food label? Because it really depends on what problem you're trying to solve. So if you're trying to solve the problem of hypertension, you might be looking for sodium. If you're trying to lose weight, you might be looking at sugar and fat. If you're trying to make sure that you're keeping yourself on track, maybe you are diabetic or pre-diabetic, maybe you have another health issue, maybe you're just trying to maintain your weight, you may be looking for sugar and protein. So it just depends on the problem that you're trying to solve and what your individual needs are. But we're going to take a peek at this food label. Total sugar and sodium. Why are there two sugars? I know, it's like really. So when we're looking at a food label, I like for people to look first at the serving size. Serving size is so very important because it really gives you an insight into the rest of the numbers on the food label. So for this particular item, there are 8 servings in the container. So let's all envision, if you eat nuts, if you don't, envision something else. But let's all envision, those little cute bags of nuts that we get they're like skinny and you see them in the store and thin, and they're usually at the checkout counter, and they're one of those healthy snacks that they, encourage you to buy. So normally in those containers, we look at them and we say, oh, wow, that's a great snack. And on our way home from the grocery store, we're chugging down our nuts and we're feeling good about ourselves. But that is an excellent time to turn that package over and look at how many servings are actually in that container of very healthy nuts. Nothing wrong with nuts. They're healthy. They're great for you.
I don't.
But it's our.
I have to get rid of this shirt.
Yeah. Thank you. So if you check out the serving size, you might say, oh my goodness, I ate the whole package. And there were 4 servings in that package of nuts. Right? So we want to make sure we're paying attention to the servings in the container, servings per container, and what they consider is a serving size. Very important, because that will impact how you are going to interact with that particular product. Serving size versus the portion that you are choosing to eat. I like to say there are no good or bad foods. It's how do they fit into the problem that you're trying to solve. So, can you take that same package of nuts and make it fit to your goals? Sure, you watch your portion. If you're looking at fat, you watch your portion. If you're looking at sodium, you watch your portion. The portion is so important as it relates to the serving size. So first things first, make the decision, how is this item going to impact my goals based on the serving size and the portion? Because what's healthy for me may not be the same as healthy for you. We're in the middle of the Olympics, right? Those people need a lot of calories to do what they need to do. If you're sitting at home on the Zoom all day, you may not need as many calories as the person that's going to go out and swim 800 meters and spend the whole day in the pool, right? So we have to keep that in mind. What's healthy for that person may not apply to what's healthy for you. So next up, your portion is very important. Serving size versus your portion. And when you're checking out the other pieces of the puzzle on this food label, remember 5% is considered low, 20% is considered high. So if you're looking for sodium because you got your lab results back and they're like, hey, you got to do something about this hypertension, or you got to do something about this cholesterol because you want to look at fat. Or, hey, you got that pre-D diabetes, and we want you to watch your carbohydrate load. You want to check out these percentages. It's a down and dirty, easy way to remember, is this item going to really work for me and the goal that I am trying to achieve based on the serving size, and what is my portion of that really going to be? So take cereal. Cereal is another one. You can eyeball, your portion of cereal. Most cereals are about a cup to 3/4 of a cup is considered a serving. Most people pour 2-3 cups of cereal in their bowl because they see this wonderful number here. Oh, it's only 200 calories. That's great. I can rock that. That's good. But you got to take that and multiply it. Now, that wonderful, 3 cups of cereal that you really bought because it was 230 calories is really now over 700 calories. Because 1 cup is only 230 calories. So keep that in mind when that serving size is so important. We get so wrapped up in the sugar and the fat and the this and the that we forget that our serving size really has a huge impact. Now, if we want to talk about carbohydrates, let's talk about fat a little bit. So we can have our fat, right? But what we want to do if we're watching if we're watching our weight, if we're watching our cardiovascular health, we want to keep our saturated fat on the lower end, so under that 20%. But if you do eat some meat, I mean, it will be higher. You want to make sure that your meat is leaner, on the leaner end of the spectrum. Things like hot dogs and sausages and other things like that will have higher fat content, but it's meat, so it's gonna have a higher fat content. So just go for the leaner cuts of meat, your chicken breast, your you know, plain tenderloin of pork, lean cuts of beef, not so much spare ribs all the time, keeping that on the not so fatty line. Or you could do fish, but there will be fat in fish. We got omega-3s, and we'll talk about that. Then next up is sodium. Keeping that sodium on the lower end. Does anybody know how much sodium per day you should have if you're over 50 or if you've been diagnosed with hypertension? How much sodium per day if you're over 50 and have been diagnosed with hypertension or you've been diagnosed with hypertension? Any guesses? Any guesses? Quiet in the chat. People are waiting. Okay, I'll tell you. Oh, somebody's coming in.
1,500.
Yay, ding, ding, ding. You get a prize, which is you get a prize. That's your prize, that you would have gotten a prize had we been together. 1,500, that's right. So 1,500 milligrams is really what we're looking for. And that's a great number because it's easy to divide through your meals. So you're looking at about 500 milligrams per meal. So it's a nice even number. And it's easy to remember. So 500 milligrams per meal of sodium. And remember, sodium is a naturally occurring thing. So don't freak out because sodium is in stuff. Sodium is naturally in stuff. And remember, back in chemistry class, you had the periodic table, and Na is sodium. So sodium is naturally occurring in foods. It does not always mean salt. Baking soda, baking powder, sodium nitrate. Those types of additives have sodium in them. So we have to keep that in mind. It doesn't always mean just salt. So, all right. So next up, we've got our carbohydrates. I love carbohydrates. How do you guys feel about carbohydrates?
Hold on a minute. I
Yes?
don't know about carbohydrate all day long.
Carbohydrates? You like them?
Yeah, okay.
I love carbohydrates.
How did you do that?
We
Just do a lot of
we get carbohydrates get such a bad reputation, but they are very important, and we're going to dive a little deeper as we go through the aisles. But when we're looking on a food label, it gets a little confusing because you got your percentages, you've got your grams, and maybe your doctor told you how many grams you should eat. And it can get a little confusing. So what you want to do is take a peek at your total carbs, and it's looking at the total carbohydrate and not necessarily always only focusing here on the added sugars. People will go to the added sugars first. But it's important to know that 20% of the sugar that's in this particular item, that's high. That goes to our high number, right? So 20% is high. But the total carbohydrate here is the grams. So if you're a person that is pre-diabetic and your physician has asked you to watch your carbohydrate load, this is the number that you will use, especially if you're doing any carbohydrate counting, which kind of sort of is another class. But We want to make sure that we're looking at this number here, these numbers here for quick down and dirty checks to make sure we don't have anything on this higher end. And here we have sugar on that higher end. Now, there's one thing on the food label that we always want to be as high as possible. We want that percentage to be really high. Anybody want to guess?
Fiber.
Definitely. We want our fiber to be high, 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 because we're looking for high fiber food all the time.
Lower food.
Yep, lower food. It should be the sugar, right? That should be low. So protein doesn't have a percentage, but we always want that grams of protein to be high because we want it to be filling and keep us feeling full and satisfied. So your protein doesn't get a percentage because it's based on age, height, weight, activity level, all of those different things, and that could be different for each person. And people may have a need to limit their protein due to health reasons. So they don't want to make people eat certain amounts of protein, and it can be detrimental. All right, but when you get what you should get out of this is 5% is low, 20% is high. Quick way to kind of look at that food label, know your serving size versus your portion, and make a decision based on your health needs if this particular item is healthy for you. Okay. Next up is the wonderful label ingredient list. So labels and their ingredients are also very important because we want to make sure that we're getting quality food items. And it's really important to make sure that the ingredient quality is there. You should be able to recognize the stuff that's in your food because the ingredient quality equals the nutrient density. And when we're trying to improve our health, if we're trying to lose weight, quality ingredients that are nutrient dense are very important. So we want to make sure that we're reading our food labels, and not only the food label, but the ingredients. So with that in mind, I always like this slide to name that product. Now this is a product, I call them kissing cousins. And I am in no way saying one is good or the other is good or the one is bad or the other is bad. These are just products. They're very well, they're used. Sometimes people use them every morning. So this product is sugar-free vanilla creamer. And this is the regular vanilla creamer. So they have lots of stuff in them. So keep in mind that keeping your food on the, this is when we're talking about clean eating, right? You hear that? Clean eating. So clean eating is maybe taking whatever milk you like to use, almond, soy, rice, regular milk, cream, half and half, whatever that is, and maybe throwing in, a little extra to it because lots of foods have a health halo around them. So we have foods that are GMO free and, sugar free, fat free, organic, and they try to throw as many of those labels at you as possible. And it's important to be able to read through that. My colleague calls that's the party on the front, because they have all those fancy labels and they want to get your attention with all of that and make you think that that's healthy. But the business is on the back, and that's from the regular food label. Get rid of the haze, wade through it, turn that product over and read that food label and read that ingredient list. And that's where you make your decision from. Because with vanilla flavoring, you have that in your cabinet. Put some vanilla in your coffee with some of the milk that you're already buying, and you got vanilla flavor. Just keep it real, right? Keep it real with real food. If you want to add a little sweetener, Oh my goodness, we freak out over sugar, but then we have so many different products that are additives to our food that are so sweet, and that keeps that sweet tooth going. So a little teaspoon of sugar won't knock you off your pedestal. Now, 5 teaspoons of sugar might, but 1 teaspoon, the world is not gonna stop looking at the rest of your plate. All right, so let's jump into the aisles. Now that we've looked at the food label, we talked about it, we beat it to death. If you go into Giant, one thing that you'll, get some help with is we used to have this little man right here, this little guy with the stars. It's called Guiding Stars. And that is a nutrition rating system. Foods that qualify will get stars. So they've already read the label for you. Yay! We're changing the icon. You'll start seeing it popping up in stores. So now it's going to start looking like this with an apple, and it's going to have the stars and all of that. And if you're interested in learning more about Guiding Stars, this is a QR code. You can scan it with your phone, and it'll explain how they do the algorithm and determine which food is which. There's a food finder on there that you can see. Does my item qualify for stars? You could type it in and see if your item qualifies. So it's a really good system to utilize. And then over here we have the sustainability markings, and that is how good. And what they do is they go through, they rate the products. It's totally independent. They rate the products based on sustainability. How do they treat their workers? Where do they source their ingredients from? How are their financial practices? Do they give back to their communities? So this type of interaction with the community and corporation, corporate responsibility, is what How Good is looking at. Also, their environmental impact on the planet. So they also have a wonderful app. So you don't have to be in Giant for this, but Giant just has the icon on the different products that qualify. But you can download the app. It's called How Good. And you could scan the QR codes of different products no matter where you are, and see if they get a rating. I think they even do hair products now, housekeeping products. So it's a good app to have. How Good. Yay. Huh? What happened? I got a message. Oh no. Who did that?
Is
I don't know. My screen.
Can you share again?
No. Well, let's see. Let me share. I should be able to. Here we go. All right. Let's see. Where are we? Bring. Back on track. All right. So our first aisle is the produce aisle. So for me, it's always about half plate produce, and half your plate should be fruits and vegetables. You want to be healthy, get those vegetables in, get a variety, eat the rainbow, because you get a lot of different phytonutrients from each one of those colors. And all those colors have different duties and the different chemical responses and reactions in the body. So the more variety you get, the more color, the better. So we want to look for 5 to 7 to 9 servings a day. And it's important to have a variety. So looking at the different types of items on the shelves, there's so many ways to do it. Now, one of my favorite ways is a salad kit. I love a salad kit because it helps to give variety to your meals. It helps you when you are trying to plan meals. If you have a larger family, you could utilize the salad kit. So the salad my favorite right now is the tangerine crunch. I'm in love with that. It tastes really good. And instead of using the whole salad kit salad dressing packet, I usually only use like a half or a quarter of it. And I substitute in my vinegar of choice, like apple cider vinegar, balsamic vinegar, rice wine vinegar, so that it has the flavor, but I don't get all the sodium. And using prepared greens, green beans, all the different types of packaged items are great for those that want convenience because they're already kind of picked and chopped and done for you. But my favorite overall is broccoli slaw. It is in every single solitary. I try some way to slide it into every presentation. From mindfulness to physical activity, I'm recommending broccoli slaw because it's an easy way for you to get in your vegetables along with, any other item you might be eating. Eggs in the morning, in your omelet, in a smoothie, in a soup, in your salad. It's a quick way because all you got to do is pour it out and use it. It sautés down. You got people in your household that don't like vegetables. It sautés down nicely and it kind of hides in the background and you still get that high fiber. So broccoli slaw is not just for craisins, sunflower seed, and mayonnaise. Use it in your food. Throw it into stuff. We also have different types of lettuce. You go through the aisle and you see all these different, you're like, what is all this stuff? But some of it is local. So Bowery is a good local brand. They pick their lettuce. I think they have a factory in White Marsh. It's hydroponically grown. So it's in White Marsh. So it gets to you really quickly. So that's a wonderful thing. And it has different types of taste. So try something new, get some variety in your diet. Things like sliced apples, if you're looking at portion control. Apples can be really, really big. They're healthy, they're good for you, but we want to control those portions. So already sliced apples offer you a way to control your portion, especially if you're looking at the sugars in fruit. All right. So we're not going to go down some aisles, but I wanted to make sure that I mentioned that all forms count, fresh, frozen, or canned. So you can find produce, right? We always think of produce as it has to be fresh, just picked from the field. It can be frozen also. So frozen berries, when berries aren't in season, are a great way to have them ready for smoothies, as dessert, or to add to your dessert, top your oatmeal. You can have no sodium, no salt added, canned vegetables. Rinse them off and use them. If you're using beans or green beans, those types of things, go for the low salt or no salt option. And then things like frozen spinach, frozen broccoli, all of those count too. So some of us can't seem to cook fast enough when we buy everything fresh. And instead of having things go bad, have a variety, have some fresh, have some frozen, and have some canned. So now you have variety and you don't end up with food waste, because that's one thing we don't want is food waste. All right. So some of the questions I usually get a lot of when I'm in the store when we're together is about, are bananas good? Are carrots good? Is corn good? And yes, nobody ever gained weight or got a cardiovascular illness because they ate a carrot, right? The poor carrot. It's been beat down. The corn has been beat down. Poor corn. Bananas, so beat down. Poor bananas. But it's all about your portion. And it's all about the preparation. There's some peas in there, right? We have a plate and we have to figure out what our portion is and how we're going to prepare that item. So we have to do here's another P, planning. You have to plan. And there's nothing wrong with having some carrots. They're a great vessel for dips, right? They're great for that. They're great. They're crunchy. They're sweet. They give you a lot of wonderful things going on. So have some carrots and feel good about it. Feel good about your banana. But remember that marathon runner that's running in the Olympics, that person may need a larger banana. We're sitting at home with Zoom all day. We may need a smaller banana. Doesn't mean the banana's bad. It's filled with nutrients. Carrots filled with nutrients, so eat them. They're good for you. But one thing we want to watch is when we're looking for our carbohydrate load, we want to read that food label, and we want to not only read the nutrition facts, we want to read the ingredient list. Because the first ingredient in this particular option here is apple juice, not kale. Kale falls way down here. And I can never figure out, usually in Zoom, I can zoom in. I can't figure that out on this. So I'm sorry if I can't zoom. The next time you're in the store, pick one up and take a look at the ingredient list. It's like all sugary juice. And there's 63 grams of carbohydrate in this bottle, which is high, right? So you drink the bottle and you're like, I'm doing something healthy. You can still drink this, but maybe only drink half. 4 ounces is really considered a serving of this particular item, nutrition-wise. The food label's telling you about the bottle. So break it in half. Doesn't mean you can't have it. Doesn't mean it's not healthy. It just means have a smaller portion. Check your portion. But read that label, and that's how you can determine if it's going to work for you. All right. Here's the fun aisle. And honestly, if we were together, we would not spend a lot of time in the produce section. Anybody want to guess why? Yay, love carrots. I do too. I love carrots. Anybody want to guess why we wouldn't spend a lot of time in the produce section? Quiet. We wouldn't spend a lot of time in the produce section because everything generally everything there exactly.
Good
All
for
the good stuff is there.
Not confusing.
Yeah. All the good stuff is there. So we don't have to spend a lot of time there. We wanted to talk about recipes and that kind of stuff, then we could spend more time there. But when we're talking about a healthy eating store tour, have at it in the produce section. Where we spend a lot of time is in the middle of the aisles, and particularly when we're talking about things that are grain-based items. So with that in mind, what's your favorite cereal? Put it in the chat because we're going to see how your favorite cereal, well, I couldn't get every cereal on here, but how your favorite cereal stacks up for guiding stars. So does your cereal qualify for guiding stars? So put in the chat what your favorite cereal is. Honey Nut Cheerios. Love it. Love Honey Nut Cheerios. Honey Nut Cheerios. Everybody only eats Honey Nut Cheerios. Come on, give me some cereals. Special K. Frosted Flakes. Honey Nut Cheerios. Frosted Mini Wheats. Okay. Shredded wheat. Regular Cheerios. Okay, we got some good options there.
Weetabix.
Which one?
Weetabix.
Weetabix. Oh my goodness. Yes. I'm sure that probably qualifies. We need to look that up. Rice Krispies.
Low fiber.
Yes, high fiber in that one. Raisin Bran. So first things first, I'm going to pick 2 that are usually considered healthy, right? We have our apples and cinnamon oatmeal, and we have like a granola in a brand that's much respected, right? So they only get 1 star, which doesn't mean that it's bad. It gets 1 star. If there are no stars on your item, then it didn't qualify for any nutrition ratings. So 1 is not bad. 1 means it qualified. So, but why do you think healthy oatmeal only got 1 star? Why would apples and cinnamon oatmeal only get 1 star? Lots of sugar. Yes. In this particular case, this is, those food labels, right? We have to kind of weigh things out. Is this going to work for me? Because it's not going to be perfect, right? There's no perfect food except for broccoli slaw. Broccoli slaw is a perfect food. But when we look at a food label, though, we're going to have to make some decisions on that. So, yeah, it's going to have some sugar, but yes, it's going to have some fiber, right? So you got to weigh it out. Does that mean that may mean you alter how you prepare it? That goes to one of those P's, right? So you have this oatmeal for your plate, per se. How are you going to prepare it? Are you going to leave it as is? Or are you going to add brown sugar and, honey and nuts and berries and right? So now you've taken what is a 1-star item and kind of tilted that sweetness factor more on that 20% end, well, even more on the 20% end. So keep that in mind. Our preparation plays a role. This particular one, I picked the chocolate one, so it's going to have more sugar in it, but it still has high fiber. And it probably has protein. Protein is one of those macronutrients that you want more of. So let's dive deeper. Let's find some 2-star items. Where are my Cheerios, people? Somebody said frosted mini wheats too. Yes, the slaw. There's a tip. Broccoli slaw on the fish tacos. Yes, really good. Lime, little bit of vinegar too, be really good. Honey bunches of oats. I can't believe I didn't get anybody. I think this is a first. I didn't get anybody that said honey bunches of oats unless I missed it. The honey bunches of oats gets 2 stars. Oh, you did? Okay. Somebody said that they said it. Cheerios gets 2 stars. Ooh. And frosted mini wheats, believe it or not, gets 2 stars due to the fiber. They both have fiber. So here is our 3-star item, grape nuts. Anybody eat grape nuts? Probably not. But we got a Weetabix person. That person would probably eat the grape nuts too. But
Probably.
oh, we got a grape nuts lover. Grape nuts. Now, some people would say, oh my God, it's like little hard pebbles, blah, blah, blah. But yes, it is like little hard pebbles. So what could you do with grape nuts to add it, to have the added fiber that it offers you, right? You could do stuff with these little hard, crunchy things because we like hard, crunchy things. So we want to crunch on things, we want to eat nuts, want to have snacks. Might as well have snacks that are good. Thank you. Put it in the yogurt. You could put it in this oatmeal, right? You could add it to salads as instead of croutons. Yeah, you could use more milk. Yeah. So we want to think of ways that we could use food differently and not just take it at the face value and put a little more thought. That's the other P, that's that planning. So when we're eating, unfortunately, some of these real fun cereals that we all grew up with don't get any stars. Fruit Loops, Cinnamon Toast Crunch, Captain Crunch, Apple Jacks. If you're using that as a snack, doesn't mean it's bad. It just means it didn't qualify, and it could be something that's wrecking your wellness goals if you're doing things regularly. So check your portion of those items. Check the serving size and check your portion. All right, let's keep rolling. When we're in the aisle, this is where we get a little confused. We got all these things. Should I eat bread? Should I eat pasta? Oh my God, I'm terrible if I do. I was bad today because I had pasta. You're not bad. It's just watch your portion of pasta. Is it the whole plate Or is it a fist-sized portion? That's kind of what we're looking for. Fist-sized portion of these items, not the whole plate, and then a scoop of whatever you're topping it with. Just keep that in mind and try something new. Like, anybody tried the protein pastas made out of beans? They have lentil pastas. They have bean-based pasta, and they're really tasty. Now, they're not the same as pasta per se made out of semolina wheat. Chickpea pasta, yes. So they give you protein. So what you want to do, instead of being so heavy on one macronutrient, which is carbohydrate, on the pasta side, regular pasta, you want to introduce another macronutrient. So when you use the bean pasta, you introduce more protein and fiber. So you get carbohydrate, you get protein, and you get fiber when you introduce the bean pastas into your diet. So you can feel better about that. You feel full and satisfied. Bonza. Yeah, Bonza, Barilla. I've even seen there's a soy bean lentil pasta. There's so many different brands out there now. Just try them. And just one tip, don't overcook them. They're supposed to be a little firm. It's more al dente. If you keep cooking them and cooking them, they get real mushy and then you'll say, oh, this is terrible. But just don't overcook it. Follow the box directions. So on here also, I threw in pretzels because it's one of those snacks that people like to go to. And they'll throw things in there like wheat, whole honey wheat. And it'll make you think, ooh, that's a healthy option for me. So make sure you're checking out the portion size that they're recommending on that. If it says whole grain wheat, that's a healthier option than just whole wheat. Whole grain is what we're looking for. Things like chips. Watch our portion size of that. That's some of the things you'll find in the middle aisle. Does that work for your goals? It's a choice that you make when you're in the store. Are you grabbing that because you see it and you're hungry? Or can you substitute in something else that's a little more of a better for you option so that helps you meet your goals? Doesn't mean you can't have snacks. It just means choosing snacks when you turn that label over that you're a little more happy about. All right. So look for that whole grain stamp on these items. These are the items that will have whole grain, not just whole wheat, because whole wheat can sometimes still have enriched flour introduced in the item. And enriched flour will spike your blood sugar. I have a hand up. Do you want to put it in the chat, or how do you want to handle that question? You can put it in the chat. Okay. So when we're looking at carbs, we want to look at the carbohydrates in different ways. Don't think of them always as bad, 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 right? Think about that marathon runner. Think about the person sitting in, at home all the time, binge watching TV, right? So we want a lot of slow energy, complex carbohydrates in our diet. Both of these are 20 grams of carbs. A whole plate full of wonderfulness. And then we have, okay, a bagel is good. It's wonderful too. It has its place. But what we usually do is this. And then we're hungry or our blood sugar spike, and then we're looking for more 20 minutes later. But if we have more slow burning carbohydrates, look at your plate. Do you have a vegetable with it? Take this bagel, if you gotta have it, if you love it, and put some of this with it. Always have a vegetable on your plate. If you're trying to solve, especially if you're trying for weight loss or you're trying to solve a health related issue, put a vegetable on your plate. If you look down on your plate and there's no vegetable, go get one. Okay. Because we need the fiber. We need the fiber to help make the corrections in our cardiovascular system. We need that fiber. Very important. It makes corrections in cardiovascular health and gut health. And gut health is very important to the rest of our body. All right. Center aisle. I love center aisle. There's good stuff all over. We learned about bean pastas. There's so many other things in the center aisle that are wonderful. And the biggest one is spices and good quality healthy oils like olive oil, avocado oil, all of those wonderful mono and polyunsaturated oils that are good for our cardiovascular system. And spices. This is where we can add flavor to our foods. So try something new. If you're bored or stuck in a rut, go out on a limb and try a wonderful new spice. One thing I love is if you like Thai food and you go out or you order out a lot, or you like Asian cuisines and you order out a lot, there are sauces you could get. Get the Thai, I love the Thai green curry. I put it on everything, turkey burgers, fish, make a curry sauce with coconut milk. It's easy to do and it tastes just like the restaurant. I think they probably use it. No, some people probably make it from scratch, which would be wonderful. But even things like pumpkin pie spice, it has ginger, cinnamon, nutmeg, allspice, all of those rich spices so that you could take that plain oatmeal, add your own apples to it, and sprinkle that in, and you have a wonderful bowl of oatmeal. Sans the sugar. You don't have the sugar now. Things like Persian tarragon, orange tarragon. Oh boy, put that on the grill on some fish or some chicken or a pork chop or whatever your thing is. Really good. And this Mina sauce, if you like it just a tad spicy, but not really spicy, but gives it a lot of international flavor. It's a Moroccan sauce. So it really gives you that eat out feeling at home. And of course, any of the no sodium, no salt added items. And things like herbs de Provence, that's my favorite. And you're always using Italian seasoning, get some herbs de Provence. It's good, it's tasty, makes your food taste like you're eating in a restaurant. All right, put in the chat some of your favorite spices so you can share with others so they might try something new. All right. Gotta roll to one of our last aisles, and that's the meat and seafood. So meat and seafood is one of those SPG. What's SPG? I don't know what that is. Sorry, I'm bad on my. Okay, so when we look at the meat and seafood, tons and tons of plant-based options. I'm always asked, is this healthy? Read the label, because if you're looking for fat, some of them have just as much fat as regular meat. If you're looking for sodium, some of them have a lot of sodium. Some of them don't. So it's all about reading that food label. And when we talked about that party on the front, when it comes to fish, that's important because you want to make sure that you're getting fish from a quality place. Most grocery stores are not going to, find strange, they're going to get their fish from reputable places. So you can rest assured of that. But some of the signs you can look for in the logos are your logos for farmed sustainably from if you're doing farm raised fish. So it's called aquaculture. We have agriculture on land and we have aquaculture in the sea. And our fish are raised in the ocean in big giant nets. So they're raised, farm raised. So this is the icon that lets you know that it's farmed sustainably and responsibly. And wild caught, you will find this icon on canned fish and frozen fish. So keep that in mind. All right, dairy. A lot of times people get confused because eggs are good one day and bad the next. Should I eat an egg? Sure. Should you eat an egg every single day? I say there's nothing wrong with an egg every day, but it's what else is going with your egg. The egg gets blamed for the rest of the stuff that's on your plate, right? We put, we might have some bacon and some hash browns and, all the stuff. So just watch your plate, get that broccoli slaw out, put some spinach with it, maybe some sliced tomatoes, sliced cucumbers in the morning with your egg, something different to make sure you're getting that vegetable on the plate in the morning. Sweet potatoes are another option for that sweet tooth in the morning. You could do that. Instead of having the cereals and those types of things. Yogurt is a great option. When you're looking at yogurt, you want to make sure that your yogurt is high in protein and low in sugar. Plain is usually best, and you can doctor it up yourself. Always stop at the pharmacy if you're taking meds and you got questions about mixing things up. And finally, in the kitchen, very easy to put it all together. Half plate produce, quarter plate grains, that fifth portion, because if you like rice, who's to say you should never have rice again? That's not fair. And it always makes you kind of revert back, right? You end up just with a lot of rice. So have a little bit of rice with your meals so that you have the things you enjoy so you can stay on track. Quarter plate protein. And cooking inspiration, if you're in Giant, we always have Savory Magazine. It's a great option. If you're not going in store, you could grab it online. Here's just 3 recipes that you can find in the magazine online. I think 2 of these are in this episode, or I can't think of the word. So that's my time. I want to be mindful of yours. You can find us at giantfood.com /nutrition. And you can even join the Healthy Living by Giant Facebook group. I love the kimchi option. We even have a podcast. So we'd love to have you join us on all of those platforms. All right, I'm done.
Thank you, Leslie. Awesome. Great information. Great. Get some hand claps there. As always, we thank you for the information, the engagement, the fun. It's always a good time with Leslie Jefferson. But thank you all for coming tonight. Just have a few announcements before we let you go. 2 minutes. We want your feedback. We ask that you complete the survey that we're going to send you after the program. And if you do that, you will enter yourself into a drawing to win a $25 gift card. So we want your feedback so that we can provide programs like this for you and just improve on what we provide. And remember that our program recording is available upon request. In the way of another announcement, as far as nutrition workshops, our next opportunity for a nutrition workshop will be on August the 25th for Dine, Learn, and Move. I know several of you on the call probably know about Dine, Learn, and Move, but that's a partnership we do with the Health Department, University of Maryland, Capital Region Health, and Suburban Hospital. So there's opportunities there for you at the end of August. In the meantime, for any fitness opportunities, please visit our website at wellness.pgparks.com. And if you would like that recording, you can email us at wellness@pgparks.com. And that is all we have for you tonight. After this brief video, we will let you go enjoy the rest of your evening.
Thank you for joining us for the virtual nutrition workshop. For more videos to help you make healthier choices, visit the Department of Parks and Recreation's online resource center at pgparks.com. Until next time, be healthy, be well.